given where we are nationally, how can Catalyst Ed be useful to organizations, nonprofits, K-12, states, districts? How can we be useful to them at this point in time?
Yeah, and if you look at this point of time, it is a time of uncertainty. It is a time of anxiety for many leaders as well. Things are shifting. It's not really clear what the implications of those shifts are going to be for your organization, for your team. And I think the danger is always of either not doing anything at all or overcorrecting, right? Because you want to make sure that you are not fundamentally undermining your mission, even as you contend with the realities of the current landscape. So there are a few different ways in which we can help. So I think the first thing is get in touch with one of our capacity advisors who can even help you just like think through and talk through the specific challenges or questions or anxieties that are there on your mind. We also have providers in our network who can provide guidance, support, hands-on help as it relates to a whole bunch of areas that I know leaders are thinking about. So let me give you a couple of examples here. The first is legal consultations, right? People are trying to understand what's the impact of some of the recent executive orders on their work. Where do they need to be worried? Where do they not? Where do they need to make shifts? So legal consultations can help clarify some of those questions. The next step is almost planning out scenarios, right? So things are still evolving and changing. And so leaders need to be in a place where they're like, well, if this happens, this is what we might want to do. And if this happens, this is what we might want to do, right? So that kind of scenario planning is really helpful. Third is, I do think that there are budget implications that everyone is thinking about. And so some levels of whether it's financial modeling or forecasting, or on the other side of things, looking at revenue sources that you might want to explore to fill in any gaps that you're anticipating. Some of the other options that I can imagine are strategic communications. Teams are themselves feeling the stress of this moment, are wondering what it means for their jobs, what it means for their communities, the ones they serve. And so as leaders, the question of like, how do you communicate to your team, to external stakeholders, whether that's your board, whether it is community members, students, families, whatever, I think that's a huge question that is weighing on many people's minds. And I think the last thing that I will mention is that any change is in equal parts a threat, but also an opportunity to really take a good hard look at our mission and say, what do we need to do in order to achieve that mission, right? And in that process, you might find that there are some things that need to change, right? Or some new capabilities you need to build. Maybe some things you need to stop doing. And so this is also a great opportunity to bring in some strategic advice and implementation support around making some of that change happen.